Hello, welcome to session number 5. My name is Jennifer Rao and I'm part of Sociocracy for All. Guess what? We are starting the meeting with an opening round. Please do your opening round. Okay, we're doing administration. Do you know when your next meeting is? Talk about that now. If it's very clear, then just announce it, quick consent, you're good. Do that now. Okay, does anybody have any announcements that they would like to make? There's some time for that now. Okay, now the agenda. Today we're going to talk about feedback and why feedback is so important for any organization. And any organization that does not embrace feedback is missing out on a lot of information. Next, we're going to apply it right away. You are going to evaluate your own circle. You are not going to evaluate this curriculum or me in my role here. And you're also not going to evaluate your coach if it's somebody else. Today, you're only going to focus on your own circle. Then you're going to do a meeting evaluation, and that is it for today. Okay, so that is the agenda. Please see if you consent to the agenda or make your own changes. Feedback. Why is feedback so important? There are many reasons for that. The most important for me is because we want to get better at what we are doing. And that doesn't only include the work that we are doing, but that is a big part of it. We want to do the workflow good. We want to have good products or good service, whatever we are offering. So that is our work, our operational piece of the organization. But we also want to make sure our processes are better around how we run things. We want to make sure everybody understands the governance system better. And the third piece is we want to get to know each other better. Only if we know each other well and we know what works for people and what doesn't, we will be able to work together effectively and have fun doing it. Ideally, an organization is a place where you can deeply connect with people and be genuine and care for each other. That's where we want to go. And that is what sociocracy stands for me. Another piece about feedback is that we look at it in a different way. Often feedback translates on people's minds into criticism, negative feedback. But that's not at all what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is feedback in the sense of data, information. And here's a classical example for what that would be. If I ride my bike from here to the store, I will have to take many curves, and there might be things on the road that, like a big branch on the road, that I am at risk of not seeing if I don't pay attention. In a similar way, it's an organization that is steering through things over time. So now we have other obstacles or things that change, situations that we have to adapt to. Many things in our outside world change, so we want to be able to adapt to that. And for that reason, we have to take in feedback. Feedback is information. It can also be feedback from people, but that is also just information. If you're reading the readings that go along with this, I hope you will have a deep understanding of that. Feedback is data that we have access to, and it's information that we can take in, knowing that whatever we measure or hear from people is not the absolute truth, but it is still valuable feedback that I can use to be better at the job that I'm doing. That is a mindset that we try to take on in sociocracy, constantly being aware, and often we have to interpret data to do that or survey people, so we're constantly up to date on how things are. The feedback that we give each other has to be constructive feedback. And it has to come from a place of care. That doesn't mean that you can't be honest if something is not working for you. The only thing I want you to do is take ownership of your own piece of that. For instance, I'll give you an example. I'm the most impatient person that you can think of. During meetings, I always try to be the facilitator or the secretary because I get bored so easily. I need something else to do. And then I'd rather write notes. If somebody takes a long time and is very thorough, I can get very impatient, frustrated, or even annoyed. But I have to make sure I understand that part of that is me. The other person is trying to meet their needs. I'm trying to meet my own. And I tend to be impatient. So if I give that person feedback about how their thorough style, slow style, is impacting me, it will be important to say both pieces. Here's what you're doing, but here's how it's landing on me. That doesn't mean that what I'm experiencing is not valid or not important. We just have to make sure we put it in the right perspective. Why is it important what I'm experiencing? Well, just imagine you have a coworker who gets incredibly angry because of the way you work. Although it's not your fault, you would want to know because maybe there is something you can change so it works for the other person. You can be in choice about that, but in order to be in choice about how you want to change your behavior, you have to have information about how what you're doing is impacting other people. So that is the mindset that I want you to take on for feedback. You have your own experience, other people have their own experience. You have the needs that you are trying to meet, they have the needs that they are trying to meet. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring everything to the table and figure out how you can work together so you can all enjoy it. So here's a format that one can use in a larger organization, and it's called role improvement. Typically, we would have one focus person, and people that person works with are going to be in the circle. They will do 3 rounds. 1 round starting with a focus person, always starting with a focus person. What did I do well? That can be in my role, in how I work with people, how I do my work, how I communicate, how I understand our governance. What am I doing well? Then the other people in the circle will respond to that. They might add or say like, you know what, that was not my perception. And then we're going to do a second round. What could I improve? Where can I grow so I can do my work even better? And then after the focus person speaks, everybody else will add to that and will add their perspective. In a performance review, we do a third round. What is our action plan? What do we want you to learn, focus on, measure, evaluate? Who do we want you to talk to so that we can put into action what we just talked about? And then that gets written up by the focus person. You get consent from everybody like you would get consent on meeting minutes. And then you will reevaluate after a term that you're setting for yourself. This is too big of a frame for this circle, so here's how we're going to do it for here. In this circle, you will go around, say you start with person A, and person A is going to talk about what they think they did well in your group, in the setting of your learning circle, and how could they still improve in the remainder of the time that you have. And then everybody in the circle is going to express their experience of how they experienced that person A. After you complete, you take a deep breath and you go to person B. Person B is going to describe what they did well and what they could have improved, and everybody is going to respond to that. And you keep going until you've done that for everybody. These processes are very rich and beautiful, but they can take some time, especially if you have more than 5 people. Imagine every person you add adds 1 more person in the round, but also another whole process for that extra person. So if you have a circle of 8, you will have to be very, very strict with your time if you don't want to be sitting there for 3 hours. So just be aware of that. These processes take time. And I will show you some examples of circle evaluations that I have been a part of in our trainings.
So what I did well, I think I did well at like showing up as my full self and being authentic, and trying not to hold back in terms of what was on my mind, or if I did notice myself hesitating, like to voice that at least by the end of the meeting. I think I have a tendency to think out loud, so I might ramble a little bit, and I might go off topic and then come back. I tend to catch myself, but it might take a little while.
Yeah, I feel you're doing a lot of reflection, and I feel it's in favor of the group.
It's not, today wasn't the first time you gave feedback, but you do it in such like an honest way and an empathic way. And personally, I feel like I learned a lot from you, but I think as a group, we got a lot from it.
What did I think you did well? Yeah, also some of the things I think you said yourself. So you took the initiative, for example, for the extra round, that you raised sometimes an issue where you said, oh, this is, I don't agree with this, or what's this about, or I'm not happy about the speed or so. I enjoyed that.
No, it's not that a fun meeting has to be unproductive. And it's not true that a focus meeting has to be without fun. One can totally combine it, and you balance it out very well.
I felt like you've made connection easier, so I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I was just writing down the things that you guys said, because I tend to forget the positives when I hear them. So I really appreciate all this feedback, the constructive as well as the positive.
So I'm going to leave you with that. This is a big chunk of time that you're going to spend without me, and I'm only going to see you again for the meeting evaluation. So start your process now, and good luck. Now it's only the meeting evaluation. Do a brief meeting evaluation. I'm sure you've already heard a lot of evaluation now. Evaluate this meeting, and then see you next time.